All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining 10 Minute Tuesday. This is episode 8. Can you believe we're at 8 episodes already? I have the great Cookie McCray from Microsoft, Senior Product Manager from Microsoft, on today. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Seku.
I love how you made that rhyme. That's amazing. All right. So we know what it is, 10 Minute Tuesday. So let's go ahead and hop into it. So with that, Cookie, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, as Seku said, my name is Cookie McCray. I am a senior product manager at Microsoft. I've been with Microsoft for a little bit over close to 2 years. And prior to that, I was a database administrator and developer for an online retailer. And I have been in data for most of my career.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Like I had no idea. I just knew you were at Microsoft. I saw we crossed paths on LinkedIn. I was like, let me hit her up, see if she'll do this. So even just now, I'm learning more about your journey, which is incredible. So starting out, so we understand you've been in data all your life, but what compelled you to even get into data to begin with?
I think first it was just curiosity, wanting to understand and uncover needs and develop insights. And like I said, I was a DBA and developer at one point in my career, and it was more of a tactical role. And then so I, started moving and wanting to do things more strategic. And it was because I wanted to work on the parts where we work on new applications, new capabilities. And then it was the part where you talk to customers and you understand the jobs to be done, you understand their pain points. And I said, where can I make this be the core part of my job? And then that's when I started looking into product management.
Wow. So shifted from data into product manager. Was it more so the curiosity of just understanding processes or getting better with the processes and pain points where people were at?
It was more so of just kind of having empathy for people and just trying to understand, like, how do you get from point A to point B? What it does it take to get your job done? And then understanding, like, if you can make this better, tell me what you would like to make this technology work for you better, to make it easier for you to do your job. And it was like, I love that. I love having that feedback from the customer of if them explaining to me those things, and then also taking that back and then being able to build that so that, once we build it, we say, how is it? And then they tell me, wow, this is so great. This has made the process so much easier for us. It saves so much time. I know, for example, we had one particular application that we had built for the financial services team in the organization where they actually told me when I sat down with them to do their job, and I said, I just want to shadow you and see like what you do. And then I said, when she started doing something and then she got up, she said, well, I guess we can go get some coffee right now. And so I was like, well, you're like in the middle of something. She said, oh, yeah, that takes like, 30 minutes or something to run. So I just typically go get a cup of coffee and then do this and go to the restroom and then come back. And I said, wait, 30 minutes, And so that made me say, how can I make this better? How can I automate this? What can we do to improve this? And so we did. We actually our team fixed the problem and automated things for her, and now she can go and get her coffee, but it's not because she's running this program that now takes 30 minutes to do it. We got it down to like maybe 15 seconds. So
Yeah.
that's a big,
Yeah,
big
big,
difference.
really big difference. So wow, so process improvement, continuous improvement, big, big components with where you're at. So shifting from DBA to product, right? That's a big journey. So in your
Yeah.
career, what would you think has been like one of your biggest failures? Just and it doesn't have to be through that transition, but just something your biggest failure in your career, and what lesson did you really take away from it?
My biggest failure. Oh my gosh. I have so many things I could talk about, but for one thing in particular, though, I think what scared me the most was when I was a DBA, you go through these growing pains. And in the beginning, what I did was I deployed a bad script and removed some data objects. Well, when you delete things from the database, it's gone,
Yes,
you know,
gone out of here.
it's gone. And so I did this one morning at like, 3:30 a.m. because I had to have everything done and completed because 5 a.m. Some reports ran for the leadership team. And so, it was this time frame and uh I ran a bad script and I deleted like stuff I wasn't supposed to delete.
Mm.
And oh my gosh, I finally like, was able to walk out of the place, and go home at a reasonable time. But everybody chipped in to help to get everything back in. And we had to go out and get, like some old the tapes or whatever to recover the data and stuff like that. But what I learned from that is that I'm supposed to test
Yes,
again,
yes.
and then test the night before and then make sure to have my rollbacks readily available because you'd never know something may happen and you need to roll that back and you need to be able to just make it seem like nothing never happened. No one would be the wiser on what just happened. And so this was very early in my career and I did that and I was so afraid that everybody was like, oh, it's okay. So well, see, now you've really gotten into the job because everybody has to like make that mistake at least once.
Exactly.
And I'm like, wow, everybody's taking this so calmly and cool. And I was like ready to vomit because I was so nervous and scared because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my job. And they said, this kind of comes with it. It happens, but then look at what did you learn from it? And
Yeah.
so that's something that I will never forget. I will never forget that.
Yeah, the pain and the stomach feeling and all that,
Oh,
like you never forget that feeling on the first time you drop a table you're not supposed to drop, or uh, there's something wrong, or there's an executive level, presentation to dashboard where something isn't right.
yes,
You never forget that gut feeling of,
yes,
oh my goodness, you just want to go into a corner and just curl up in a ball.
yes, exactly.
Oh, good. So understanding that big lesson there, but understanding you get over it, triumphant, and like you said, you learned that lesson early on, kind of early in your career. But with that, what's one piece of advice that you would give someone who's starting out in their career?
So I think that you need to always be curious. Don't give up because you're going to see a lot of imposter syndrome and always to know your worth. So, it may not be something that you expected or may not be the best thing for you to do at the time when you come and look back, but don't put yourself down. You just probably haven't found the right thing yet that's going to work for you, or you can come and be your best self. But I would say stay curious, always wanting to learn, having a growth mindset, and then big, 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 especially for Black people, is that when you go into this, uh, in the technology area, right, into this arena, one, me being a woman and being Black
Yeah,
is like, you face so many challenges and you have to say, I can do it. I'm not going to give up. This is just one obstacle or one challenge, and I'm going to keep going. So they want you to give up, but you don't do it. You keep striving.
I absolutely love that answer. There's so many gems there. Is to keep being curious, keep pushing, right? Always keep pushing through
Yes,
every adversity because we're gonna face them, right? It's harder, it's difficult, it doesn't feel good always, but you keep pushing through all that. To get to whatever, and you just stack on top of it, right? There's little milestones that you build
absolutely.
on top of
Yep.
to get to where you're at. Who's a senior product manager? Like, let's recognize where we're at, who we're talking to right now. So you keep stacking on that. But that's a great answer. All right, so last question. Tell me about the most influential people in your life and how they made an impact on you.
Okay. Well, since, Black History Month just ended, I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk about people that uh, influenced my life from a very young age. So I want to say that I first started getting real serious about us Black people when I was about 8 years old. And I learned about these three people. Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey taught me many things. He one taught us that when he started working for a printing press, this was new technology for them, right? So just think about us now in this
Yeah.
day and age.
Yeah.
That was new technology for them. And he said, be an apprentice, learn all that you can from them. And you take that and you go do your own thing, or you learn it. And guess what? No one can ever take it from you. What I also learned from him is that he carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, and that's why his life ended so early. And I always have to remind myself that I can't do the same thing. I can't take on every challenge, every obstacle, everything. I can't put the weight of the world on my shoulders. And then the third thing was he also he had so much love for Black people that he you know, didn't really think about giving people the best jobs for the type of role that they should have had. So he gave responsibility to people who weren't necessarily responsible or it wasn't the right thing for them to do. And he's the one who got the worst, it bit him in the butt,
Yeah.
so to speak, in the end. And so I learned from that. Mary Seacole is the other person that I would like to mention as well. So Marcus Garvey, Mary Seacole are Jamaican.
Yeah.
And we often hear about Florence Nightingale, but we never hear people talk about Mary Seacole. And
Wow.
she was a nurse, a Black nurse during the Crimean War. That she built like a hotel, and she provided services for soldiers to help heal them and give them a place for the sick. And she took care of people. And, this woman was amazing. But not only that, she had so many uh, obstacles and things that she had to undergo. And I learned tenacity from her. You have to be, tenacious. And I
Hmm.
always say I'm a tenacious person. And even when I said, the advice, I said, make sure that you don't give up. And she
Yeah.
didn't give up. And I love that. And she loved people and she was empathetic to people. And that leads me to my third person, and that's Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was a Black American, and Harriet Tubman, she showed the most empathy for people. She was strong, but even when she got her own freedom, she went back to get others. And it wasn't just her family; it was also people she didn't even know,
Hmm.
old, young. I have a picture of her and like kind of the voyage on the Underground Railroad. And there's a picture of her holding on to an elder and then also holding on to another woman with a baby in her hand. So even
Wow.
with a small babe,
Wow.
and they're, treading through the waters, through the rivers in the South. And she had a shotgun in her other hand, so she had a rifle in one hand, and then she's like holding on to an elder, and she didn't. She wanted to free everyone, as many people as she could, and she didn't say, "Well, I'm free, so oh well, I'm gonna go live my life." She went back over and over and over again to help others. And I said, you have to be empathetic towards people, and because of that, those people really touched my lives, learning and
Hmm.
reading their stories. And I try to have those values because our ancestors is who we learn that if they made it and they were able to do things, I can do it too. And I always have to remind myself of that because sometimes, like I said, imposter syndrome, a lot of things that you come across, we all do it. We all do it. I still deal with that, right? But then I have to remind myself that, you know, those who came before me, they did this so that I can be able to do it.
Wow, that's incredible. It's one of those things where you see the blueprint, right? You see, if you think about, I love the analogy of Marcus Garvey of you're like, this was a new technology. Like
Yeah.
we're in a world of technology where stuff is brand new, but to learn it, figure it out, teach yourself, and then adapt it and make it your own. Like that's a lesson that happened then that we still carry on to this day.
Absolutely.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Absolutely.
So, closing out, where can listeners find you online?
Well, I'm mostly on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name, Cookie McCray, COOKIEMC, capital CRAY, and you'll find me there. Send me a friend invite, and I will accept the request.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think my daughter wants to say hi as well on this one. Can
Oh, hi.
you say hi, Miss Cookie?
Hey. Oh, you're so precious.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Cookie, for joining. This was great. Thank you, everybody who listened to this. And we're closing out the end of 10 Minute Tuesdays. And if you haven't, like, share, subscribe, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.